So last week was all about an introduction to dating a single parent and the things you need to make sure you find out first to even see if you're ready to take on this challenge, which could be your biggest blessing. But guess what? We got more to dive into right after this.
Made me feel complete. Years older, you got me years older. Baby, you're all that I need. Now I can be what you mean to me. Boy, I know you need this.
So right when we're talking about single parents and dating and everything, this post goes viral. And I want to take a second to read it because there's so many elements in there. It's the element of time, the element of retaliation. It's all of the things. Y'all just wait on what I got to say. But I want to hear what you got to say. So this is from Proud Black Fathers. I need to get something off my chest. Yesterday, my stepdaughter graduated and I wasn't invited. I've been in her life since she was 4 months old. Woo! Married her mother when she had just turned 2. And I've been there, consistent, showing up, providing, loving her like my own. But come graduation day, I wasn't given a seat. Like, word, they told me they were only 8 tickets. Let me tell you who made the list. My wife, her 2 sisters, her biological dad, her uncle, her grandma, her aunt, and her boyfriend. 8 tickets, and I wasn't one of them. Bet. I've been sitting with the pain all day. I took time off work, 3 days gone. I drive trucks. That's money and time I can't get back. And still, I got left out. So today I made some decisions. I removed her from my car and health insurance, took her off everything I've been covering. Told her mother, since she's grown and graduated, she can go stay with her father, the one she made room for over me. Now, there's tension in my house, emotions are high, but I'm standing on what I feel because the truth is, I'm hurt. Not mad, just deeply, genuinely hurt. I don't need applause, I just needed to speak my truth. Thanks for listening.
So I understand that my wife could be triggered by this, her being a bonus parent and all. So how about I go first? I get it. He's been there since the beginning, just about. Sacrificed so much, so many challenges he went through that he couldn't even put together in that letter to us all. A lot of men, we feel, but we don't necessarily do well at communicating our feelings. Mm-hmm. And so I believe, as he should have, he had an expectation that he had one of those seats, especially if the biological dad's girlfriend or whatever was going to be there. Yeah. He had a seat at the table. Yeah. But where I have to be the protective parent of the matter for the bonus parent is that I don't think that the mother, who's the biological mother in this scenario, made it clear that, hey, what about your bonus dad? What about him? You know his feelings are gonna be hurt. Because I believe sometimes the kids are just caught in the middle. They don't want to make anybody mad. So if their parents say they want this many tickets, the other parents say they want this many tickets, they just want to just oblige everybody and appease everybody and move past the situation.
It takes me back to a conversation that I had with my bonus child. And we were talking about him not really giving me a name. Mm-hmm. And originally that hurt my feelings because my child wants to figure out how to address everybody. Is that Auntie Uncle? Is that Mr. Miss? Do I call him Grandpa? That's the type of kid he is. So for him to still be calling me Jenni, I was like, we got a whole relationship outside of what we're supposed to have, what was kind of facilitated for us to have. We have our own personal relationship. And he was like, oh, I never thought about it like that, right? And that was a moment for me to be like, hey, it's kind of hurting my feelings that you're calling me by my first name and you give everybody else a name. But he also had to respond in a protective way for his mother. He knew, I can't be calling you mom for real. That's going to give me tension. And I understood that. So that's a conversation that we had that did not derail our relationship. And we still have our relationship, right?
Oh, boy.
So,
Oh, boy.
okay, yeah, we can talk about when our feelings get hurt. We can talk about it. But guess what? That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. You live in our house, 2 tickets are gone. 2 tickets shouldn't even have been on the table. When you got 8 tickets, mom should have took her 2. Period. Before aunts and uncles. Honestly, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So the random boyfriend that was at the end, definitely, you're absolutely out.
Smack in the face.
And depending on the relationship with the biological dad, don't sound like you were there all the way. All right? But I don't care who else is on that list. I don't care. I don't care. Your grandma got to watch it from TV if she at the last of the list. 2 tickets are gone. So my first fault is with the parent.
Yeah.
It is 100% your
1,000.
responsibility.
Yes.
To make sure that this relationship is protected, there's a covenant in our household, and that we are operating as a family. And it also takes me back because in the beginning, I didn't really know how to make myself fit, right? It was a jigsaw puzzle that they had no end pieces. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I don't know where to start, right? And in the process of just cultivating what love looks like and what I knew he needed to see in a loving household, right? So more so than my relationship with him, it was about thinking about what he needs to see. What does he need to see in a successful marriage? How does he need to see a family operate? And I even told you this before, it's either all or nothing. I either treat this child like he's my child, or I treat this child like he is your child. And that's a totally different experience for him.
That's right.
And a part of doing so is cultivating that relationship with that child on your own. And that baby is 18.
That's right.
And that man been there for 18 years. You talking about you ain't know? You didn't know I was supposed to get a ticket? Let me just digress for a sec. I just need to...
Wifey hot. That was a trigger for her. But this is why it can be so fragile in a relationship that you might have thought was stable. 18 years later, it smacks you in the face.
Yes.
And so this episode is dedicated to all of those people who are entering or are in a blended family, because you have to understand how important it is to set the structure, set the tone, to have those additional conversations that we could say where no kids are involved, we have to have additional transparency, additional planning, so that when all of the co-parenting dynamics come up, switching time on holidays with the child, when the kids mature, we're ready for it.
Yeah.
And so this episode is dedicated to all of you out there that are ready to take on this huge challenge, because it's so much worth it to you.
And I think that this also is going to let you know that the commitment to this family is not just 18 and out, as it shouldn't be with any child, right? But this is graduation.
That's right.
You've been with this woman, married to this woman 16 years. And the tension in the household is an unspoken clarification that was missed somewhere in those 18 years.
That's right.
They should have been talking about what that relationship is going to look like. And having those conversations about boundaries, when to insert yourself, what type of leverage or responsibilities will fall on the bonus parent, all of those things need to be talked about immediately.
And so we leave off from the serious introduction of the potential bonus parent and your child. And now things have become that much more serious. So we have to take some things into consideration.
Oh, yeah.
And the first thing we always have to look at is co-parenting boundaries and co-parenting communication.
Whew.
Now, this is not for the people that have a great flowery co-parenting relationship, but we have to set some things in place. So the parent has to set the tone
Yeah.
of communication in the relationship. And a lot of this has to do with just being consistent and keeping it to the minimum of what is most important. The schedule, drop off and pick up, activities, and everything that typically needs to be pre-planned because that is consistent. Consistency breeds habits, and habits we can count on.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is one thing that we have to keep in mind. We do not want to create variations. Even though things come up and plans change, sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet because guess what a variation is? A variation is an adjustment. And that also shows inconsistency, okay? And so even though it's convenient for you, you're asking for a favor for the other co-parent because you asked for an adjustment or a change. You have to be committed to the schedule. You have to be committed to the boundaries. And since you're entering into a new stage of seriousness with this relationship that we're building, we have to communicate what the plan is with our potential person as well.
And more than even stability, kids need consistency. They need to know that your temperament is going to be the same. They need to be able to predict how you'll respond to certain things. They need to see where your moral compass is. They need that. And a part of that consistency comes in, okay, I know that on Tuesdays I'm with dad, period. And if it's Tuesday and I'm not with dad, they got questions. They want to know, was this more important to them? They want to know, did you take me away from them? A lot can come from that. Another thing is the person that you're dating, the bonus parent, also needs consistency. It is a lot cultivating a relationship with another child. It is a lot to develop that unconditional love bond that is very necessary to raise this child as your family member. It takes consistency, discipline. It takes you looking beyond where this is right now. You know, okay, all right, he Angelica right now. We ain't really clicking right now. But where can we be? I want to be an asset to him. I want to be a resource for him. I want to be a protective space for him and his feelings and everything. And in order for that to happen, I have to continuously pour into him. And pour into him when he ain't giving me nothing. Okay? That baby ain't giving me nothing. And if you are like, well, you know, she asked for the next 2 weekends, so I just gave it to her so we could have some more time. Yeah, in hindsight, you might think that's a good thing, but realistically, bring me my baby. I need my time with my child.
That's right.
Okay? And when I speak in this way of being inclusive of this child, I think that that is something that is so hard and makes dating someone with a child so much more serious and intense, but it's a very necessary evil. It is so hard to be in a household with a child who you are neglecting as your own, or you're only letting the other parent do for them. So that means when they're hungry, when they want to go to the movies, or when they just need some help on homework, you over here. You like, ask your daddy, ask your mama. That the relationship will never be healed.
Yeah.
But what comes with that is so much more. It's layers to it. If this is my child, I need to be able to talk to this child like he is my child. I need to be able to check him. I need to be like, hey, the dishes. You know, if I don't have that, the permission per se to treat this child like it's our child in our home, it makes things wonky. And now I'm trying to figure out if I'm in or out. Every interaction with this child. So in the beginning, having those future conversations about children, even though it's one that's already there, is so important.
And that was a good point. They brought up consistency for the bonus parent as well. Because consistency, like I said, you can count on. And so when you guys are doing something that is consistent for you all as a collective, because we're trying to see if this can fit. We're trying to work through this thing. That's so key because inconsistencies lead to conflict. And we got to avoid conflict at all costs, especially during this courtship time. And you can't always determine what the other parent is going to do over there, the co-parent. But you got to do your best to try to avoid conflict at all costs over there, because that baby feels it. The person you're in a relationship will feel it on you. And so we do our best to keep it positive and keep things moving in a growth fashion. But the other thing that was so important was speaking to integrating or planning this relationship of who may be the potential bonus parent and your child. And that's nothing to take lightly, because that is probably one of the most sensitive relationships that we have in front of us. And if we don't cultivate that and make it intentional, then that right there can also be the demise of the relationship. So I remember that I was very intentional on introducing you and also how I would integrate you into Cam's life. You did a great job as far as kind of taking some initiative, which was never overstepping. It was always in a nurturing fashion, but making sure that you guys are connecting and making kind of almost like initiating a friendship between the two is so key, and something that you have to be intentional on growing and building and developing.
And finances. You know, okay, we talk about our kids going to private school, but if this bonus child is your kid, who I can't talk to, who I can't get invited to the graduation to, oh, honey, my coins are for me and my children, you know, and it separates things. So now you got a bonus kid that's going to public school while the rest of the kids going to private. It's goofy, right? So really discussing who's going to be a part of what. And before you even allow me to put that child on my car health insurance, you better believe that we're talking about this in the sense of my child.
That's right.
And the cutoff is real.
Yeah.
Because guess what? This individual, I don't care how long they've been in your life, is still not yours.
That's right.
Right? And we have to be consistent in the messaging between each other, between me and that child, between all parties involved. The biological dad should have been shocked that you weren't there. You know, even if it was snarky. That the daddy ain't here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
he been there since she was 4 months old.
Man.
So me not even having as long of a skin in the game with our bonus child would have, it wasn't even a thought
Yeah.
that I wasn't coming to graduation.
Yeah.
I'm buying prom shoes.
Yeah.
And I can't come to the graduation. Give me them shoes back. Run me them shoes. Run me that belt. Like all the way petty, because I don't care what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, and you know that this kind of just hit me that he is a truck driver. So I'm putting some of this blame, I'm putting a lot of this blame on the wife and the mom, because truck drivers can be gone 5-6 days a week at a time.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about back home for just 1 to 2 days, and they back over the road hauling stuff so they can make sure the house is straight. And if the mom and the wife is not communicating to that child that, hey, the reason that this is, and the reason that we're living like this, and the reason that we're having a graduation, and the reason that you're going to college, and the reason that we were able to get that cast on your arm is because dad, bonus dad, is going to Albuquerque, New Mexico, he's going to Dallas, Texas, and he coming back here with his back hurting every single day. And so if that's not being communicated and he's out of sight, out of mind, then I got to give a little bit of grace to that 17, 18-year-old kid, because they're only going to value what we teach them to value. And so that's also going back to the importance of that bonus parent relationship. You were kind of the secret sauce when there was controversy between me and Cam's mom. You were his safe space. You were his place of peace. And I was able to just kind of see that and just let you work. And so you were able to build this relationship that really helped both of his parents. And so that's why I got to say that people don't even understand the importance of a bonus parent, because not only is that bonus parent nurturing and going to be there for your child, they can actually help the perspective of the child on their soon-to-be husband or wife, and the person that doesn't even know that you're feeding life into their relationship, the other co-parent.
Yes. And that leads me to bonus parents. This is for you. Get rid of any negative thoughts that you have about the other parent. They not showing up. They always negative. They always fussing. They don't like you. Get rid of it. As a bonus parent, you have to focus so much on that child that other person is noise. Yeah. That other person, you want nothing but the best for that other person because you know that this child needs both parents. And you are a bonus. You're not a replacement. So it should never be, I'm here more than you, or get it out of your head right now, even before you start this relationship. Right now, this child is most important. And we know we're getting to the age where people's parents are dying off. Loss of a parent, it is a void that can never be filled. So you need that child to have love from both sides. You need that child to respect both sides. I know it was very important for me when my bonus son and his mother would have a disagreement or something. It was very, very important that I pointed out to him that the respect he's supposed to have for his mother and the love he's supposed to show his mother needs to be next level.
That's right.
Because I'm also raising a little human that I don't got time to be going out in this world and bickering and arguing with women out here. If you don't respect and love on your mom, who are you about to be? And you're going to be representing me. So taking you out of the equation is going to happen more often than not. And it is going to, be shade. It's going to be drama. It doesn't have to be, but it could be. So get prepared. And in all of that, if you just focus on that baby, focus on loving your partner so that he can deal with that, it will be so much easier. And also knowing that any conflict or battles are theirs.
Yeah.
We can share everything else. That ain't for me. That's not my fight. That's not my battle. That's not my drama. Yeah. So at the end of the day, all I can do is love on you while you going through something, but I ain't inputting myself. I ain't checking old girl, calling her, ma'am, this your baby daddy. Like, I'm just here to love on your son. You actually don't know how much I pray for you to be great. You should be loving on me, So just knowing that it's not your place to try to referee or get in the middle of or protect the other parent, right? It is always your place to protect and love and make a safe space for that child.
And so, let's say the relationship makes it through that gauntlet, meeting the child, making it through the co-parenting dynamics, all of the things, and now we're ready to progress to the next level.
Yeah.
We make it to the altar, and we make it into marriage.
Yeah.
Keeping it a buck, the challenges are not over yet.
Nope.
So now we're dealing with raising our child together.
Yeah.
We got the co-parent, but now you are officially a bonus parent. And just in case you didn't know, kids have seasons. Kids go through puberty. And so it is so important that during this time we stay locked in and we understand that nobody wins when the family feuds and that we are on the same team. And so it's so critical that we have a display of a healthy relationship to this child, because a lot of the time they have a flawed perspective because of maybe what you and the other co-parent had gone through. And so now it's so important that we operate as a team and that when we raise this child, even in conflict, I'm supporting her, she's supporting me, and that we're always conscious that our child is seeing us in a healthy light and that we're always supporting each other through that conflict.
Yeah. It just makes me think about a question that I get asked pretty often is, what's a good age for that child to be? And we started off with somebody who's been in that child's life since she was 4 months old. I came into our son's life when he was 8. Listen, I don't know if it's an age. I'm going to just go out on a limb and say there is no age, right?
Yeah.
There is a level of respect and how long have they been co-parenting and understanding that relationship. That's for another episode. But there is no specific age to when it's going to be better for that child.
Right.
So just know that it'll always be some type of conflict. But you hit on something. Puberty. Teenagers.
Huh.
Who is this man? Who is this man coming up to me with his deep voice about what's for dinner? You know, all of those changes is so important. And it's why one of the things we do on a regular basis is lay down and talk about today. And 9 times out of 10, it's talking about these kids. What you say when they ask you that? Oh, I don't know. You might need to run that back tomorrow.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
oh, that was good. I'm glad he asked you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I had the answer for that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I be in my bag.
Yeah.
I be like, babe, he asked me about this. I hit him with this scripture and he understood it. It registered, you know. And it's like that constant communication because there's no playbook. We ain't got the answers. And we went through all of the rocks and roads and everything with developing our relationship as co-parents in this marriage, right? Continuously talk through things and talk about the hard stuff.
Yeah.
Talk about, spanking, right? Listen, the first time y'all talk about spanking is after somebody done popped your child, maybe the relationship might be over.
That's rough.
You know what I'm saying? Talk about, tones and what type of wording. Talk about when we talk about the birds and the bees, are we going to go spiritual and scripture, or are we going to go real world, try to hold out as long as possible? Like, have the messaging to be on point with each other so that no one is blindsided. And then another key thing that we do is even if we think the other one is tripping or taking it too far or maybe, maybe need to rethink this punishment, we talk about it later. Not right then. I'm not going to just jump in and be like, oh, what's going on in here? Don't be yelling at my baby. No, we go talk about it. And it's been those times. So developing that level of communication, because it's so hard to talk to somebody about their kid. Okay, and you still talking to your spouse about their kid. You need to be able to say, hey, I know you got this, right? And I know we all figuring this thing out, but did you think about how they felt? Did you think about why they made that decision? And that was a lot of our relationship was like, okay, no, I got my relationship with Cam and I don't want to necessarily just tell him every single detail of our conversation, but now I have a better understanding of him. So let me let you know. Let me let you in on what he says to his friend versus what he's saying to his parents.
And she's been able to translate in so many scenarios with me and Cam where maybe I was too hard on him, or at least he felt I was too hard on him. And she was able to find a voice of reason and maybe even allow Cam to give me some grace in that. So the secret sauce of the bonus parent is super critical and super crucial, especially if you guys are intentional on building that relationship early on. Yeah. It could save you much later on.
Oh, yeah.
All right?
For sure.
So moving on to the next thing, talking about growing the family.
Yeah.
Initially, it might just be the trio.
Yeah.
Or just the 4 of you, however many kids are involved.
Yeah.
But now we're growing the family. Now we want to have that bond of our own. Mm-hmm. And we have to make sure that we're very intentional on communicating the growth of this family to your bonus child and my child.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. And it was serious with
touch
us.
And go.
It was touch and go. Mainly because we kind of started to have the conversation as we were preparing to get pregnant, and I got pregnant like this.
Yeah.
My doctor said it was going to take 6 months. It did not. So now I'm talking to Cam about, expectations and just kind of trying to get him to open up to it. And he's like, am I not enough? I'm pregnant, by the way.
Emotions
I am
galore.
like, he's killing me inside, you
Yeah.
know. So making sure to be realistic though. I was the first person who did it negatively. Somebody else said it very negatively, but was the only person that said things will change when the new baby gets here.
Mhm.
And he had been, told, no, things are going to be the same. They're going to love you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, things are going to change. And he was like,
That's right.
what? And I was like, no, this baby is going to be cute and cuddly and new.
Yeah.
This baby is going to be, somebody that everybody wants to see. And guess what? They ain't gonna be asking about me. They ain't gonna be asking about you. But that will last through the newborn stage. I said after that baby gonna be drooling and pooping and pulling everything off the table, and we ain't gonna be able to find them, and they gonna be climbing up the stairs, and we all gonna be running around like a chicken with our head cut off, and we gonna want the stability of talking to the kid that can have a conversation, the kid that still writes books, the kid that is still fun and can make you laugh and can share a TV show with you, right? I said, so give it a few months. Things will initially be different. And I even told him for me, I'm going to be trying to breastfeed and trying to, get my sleep when I can. I won't have as many opportunities. I said, but that's just through a short period of time. And I could tell that as that happened, exactly how I said, as that period of time lapsed, he was like, oh, I could trust you even a little bit more. I know that you would keep it real with me. And that's something that I've tried to keep throughout our entire relationship. I've never tried to sugarcoat things. I have been very empathetic to everything he was feeling. I don't know a child who doesn't want their parents to be together, unless, they were just crazy together. But he wanted his parents to eventually be together and them to live in the same house. And I came in and shook that idea up and stumped on it. I was very aware of that, and I was very conscious of that. So in him having his emotional outbursts and even being a little standoffish at first, I knew what that was. So get yourself out of it. Take you out of it and begin to love in a different way.
And feeding into your child early, even before you grow the family, is so critical because your child who is already here sets the standard for your children who will be coming.
Yeah.
They are the blueprint. They are the example of what your children will follow. So it's so important to feed into them. It's so important to make sure everybody is included. One thing that we always have done is make sure that we plan all of our vacations, family outings, all around the availability of our oldest.
Yeah.
He feels included, we feel complete, and the littles, they can't get enough of their older brother. And so it's so important that you're intentional on communicating the growth and the plan of the family, even to your little baby boy, baby girl, because they're part of this adjustment and this evolution of what's gonna grow into our family unit.
And I think that's a good note because my mother will be like, if you can't get along with your siblings, you don't have no friends, right? And so my sister and I, we could argue all day and we gonna talk tomorrow. Like it just is what it is. And we are 15 months apart. And I know how I could see how people get wedges in between them as siblings, but we don't allow it, right? And it's because that's what we've always known. Them being 12 years apart, my bonus child and our children, it is too important for us to facilitate and cultivate that relationship that they have, that connection that they have. So if it's a FaceTime, if it's at night saying your prayers and making sure that you never leave him out, or the little things, the little consistent nuggets of this is our family. We're not drawing pictures with just two kids and a man and a woman. Where's your brother? It's simple things like that that will just make it a constant in everybody's life so that they don't grow up not knowing each other, even though they didn't spend too much time in a house together. And they do grow up knowing that it's family over everything. And on that note, we usually would toast But we are fasting. You know, we do this every once in a while. And I do just want to leave on a very positive, encouraging note. I don't want anybody to block their blessings because they're hearing all of this and they're like, I don't even want to navigate that space. Don't do it. I was that person. People with kids have boogers in their nose constantly. It can truly be the best deposit on your life. I believe that Cam showed me how to be a mother. He gave me impactful research as to what motherhood and raising a child and navigating difficulties looks like. And I believe that the pivots that we've made in our relationship have been crucial to every part of my life. So it has been a blessing. And while it has been tumultuous times and all of the things, it is something that I would absolutely encourage you to explore if you find that person. So continuously be open to love, choose love, and be open to all of the possibilities of finding love.
We are finally here at season 2, and we could not have done it without any of you.
We're talking all stages of relationships, from dating to courting to marriage to reaching that forever status.
We are bringing all the true stories to the forefront, and guess what? This year, we're coming back bigger, better, and stronger, and it's all because of all of you.
So stay tuned for what we're going to do next. We are on all platforms at I Am Finding Love, and be sure to subscribe to our website at iamfindinglove.com.
And do not forget, tune in each and every Friday as you keep asking us questions and we keep delivering the answers.
Baby, you're all that I need. No, I can be what you mean to me. Make me feel complete. It's OD, you got me, it's OD. Baby, you're all that I need. No, I can be what you mean to me.